media outlets. So a lot tied into their decision not to come to the table and approve a deal. So if Congress doesn't come to an agreement by midnight tonight, government agencies will have to implement their contingency plan. So we, of course, are following this story for you this morning. Also, some news here locally that's now national news. An arrest warrant for animal cruelty has been issued for actor and singer Tyrese Gibson. That's according to Fulton County officials. So here's what they're saying about it. They say September 18th, one of Gibson's neighbors called the Fulton County Police Department, said that one of his 4 Cane Corso dogs, quote, roamed freely in their Buckhead neighborhood. It just killed the neighbor's dog. It's a 5-year-old King Charles Cavalier Spaniel. Officials said that 4 of his dogs were seen on camera several times scratching at a door across the street from where that dog was found dead minutes before the attack. So they're saying they have video evidence of what happened in this case. Dogs were reported running loose 5 occasions is what Fulton County officials are saying. So they say September 22nd, Gibson had said he would surrender the dogs, but when officers got there, he instead said that he wanted 3 to 4 days to decide what to do. So officers that is, returned a little bit later with a warrant. They say he wasn't home. The dogs were gone as well. They believe that he has left the country. So a big story that we're following this morning, an arrest warrant issued for singer Tyrese Gibson out of Fulton County. So this is some big news that is definitely important to you if you drive an electric car. It's a big change that goes into effect today. So we've had a lot of questions about this. Let's hopefully answer a few of those. Starting today, you have to have at least one other passenger in the car with you or pay the standard toll to use the express lanes on I-85. So this change follows the expiration of a temporary federal provision that previously allowed solo EV drivers free access to be able to use those lanes. It was part of a special deal that they had going on with that. So drivers who still have the special alternative fuel vehicle decal, you now need to get a standard license plate because that decal doesn't provide any benefits anymore. So that's something you need to add to your to-do list. They also say if it impacts you, here's what you need to know moving forward. You have to drive with passengers. You need to have at least one other occupant with you in order to use that HOV, HOT lane. You need to pay tolls. If you're driving alone, you will be subject to the standard toll rates on the express lanes. Like we mentioned, get that standard license plate. That's going to be something that's important for you to do now. So if you're wondering why this change is happening, since it has been in effect for a few years, it's the expiration of federal exemption. Federal law allowed states to offer perks to try to get people to buy these electric vehicles. So perks like being able to not pay a toll to ride in that lane. They say this affects all HOV lanes statewide. So it does impact the use of I-85 high occupancy toll lanes, which are part of Georgia's express lane system. So note to you if you drive an EV, some important changes that are happening there. Let's get you to Austell now. That's where firefighters had a big job putting out a fire that started overnight, and they were working well into the night to get this taken care of. Our Kim Leffler is joining us now with where this happened and with the damage that's left behind there. And it left quite a mess behind, Kim. Good morning.
Yeah. Good morning. Yeah, it really did. The fire is out, but as you can see, crews remain on scene at this hour. We know crews got called here around 9 p.m. last night, and that fire happened inside of the church's sanctuary and caused part of the roof here to collapse. Firefighters used ladder trucks to pour water directly into the sanctuary here, which does appear to have sustained the most damage. Now, the good news, Cobb County fire officials say no injuries were reported. There were no events going on in the building at the time when the fire broke out, but certainly a big mess here left behind. Now, take a listen to the pastor. This is the Prayer City Eagles Chapel International Ministries on Joe Jerkins Boulevard. We spoke with the pastor a little bit earlier this morning. Take a listen to what he had to say.
This is a very challenging times. It is a very devastating times, but I believe that God is going to see us through. We are going to rebuild again, and I believe it is going to be better than before. And so they should keep hope and faith alive.
We do see many parishioners here as well. Everyone just kind of taking this all in disbelief that this happened. So far, the cause of this fire hasn't been released, but of course, we're going to stay on top of this and bring you updates throughout the day. For now, live in Austell, Kim Leffler, Fox 5 News.
Back up in working order. Kim Kim Leffler live for us. Kim, thank you so much for that. We certainly appreciate it. Well, turning to the forecast now, let's have our meteorologist, Jonathan Stacy, moving on to here with me to talk about what's happening. So good to see you as always.
Good to see you as
Hello.
well. Good morning to you.
Hey, a pleasant start to the day. I got to tell you, I went outside this morning, so really early, right, when we come in, but then went out around 9:30 for a grilling segment, and I couldn't believe how the temperature had dropped. It felt quite a bit cooler outside.
Yeah, it is quite
Yeah, so what's
cooler.
going on?
In fact, we're entering in a trend in which we're going to see a drop in the temperatures overall. So the mornings are going to be cool. We'll look for some mornings to start out in the 50s, while other mornings in some of those mountain communities could get into the 40s.
Wow.
And then by afternoon, we'll top out somewhere around 70-something degrees. The 80s are back today, but not necessarily for the remainder of the week. In fact, there will be some days in which high temperatures only top out in the upper 70s. But I think this is going to be the bigger story, really, of the week. Going into the first day of October, is Atlanta is on track to be the fifth driest, or to have the fifth driest September on record.
Really?
That we've only got almost maybe 0.2 of an inch of rainfall all
Okay.
month long, and that's based on records that are kept and calculations at Hartsfield-Jackson International. So there are some communities, especially up across the mountains, where it rained back to back, especially over the past couple of weeks, where your rainfall amounts are higher. But generally here in the metro area and for points on the south side, we've been quite parched. And the only way we can not get this fifth place award, if you will, is by getting a drop or two at
It's
the
a
airport
rain.
today. And I really don't see it happening. Cooler than average to start October. We'll keep up with the dry trend at least for the next 5-day period. But the bigger stories, especially going into the weekend, were the hurricanes that were out east in the
Yeah.
Atlantic, Umberto and Imelda. At this point, we have 2 Cat 1 hurricanes. So basically, Humberto, which is furthest or further to the east, is weakening, and it was a Cat 4 just 48 hours ago. Now it's a Cat 1.
Progress.
Yeah, progress is
good.
being made.
Yeah.
Yeah, progress in the other direction. And this morning when we woke up, we had Imelda, which is closer to the coast and is actually lashing the Carolinas coast at this moment. It was a tropical storm, and now it's a Category 1. So these storms are playing off each other, but generally the big story here is that these hurricanes are being pulled to the east. And so the further they go into the east, that's into the open waters of the Atlantic, with the one exception, and that being the island of Bermuda. They're kind of catching it on both ends there because they're basically surrounded by hurricanes. It's kind of a weird phenomenon here, but for us, drier air is starting to sweep in, and that drier air is going to be felt really up and down the East Coast over the next 5-day period. So right now, this is what you see on Fox 5 Live Viper Radar. I hope.
I think we
nothing to
see
there
Christopher
yet.
Thought. You're not supposed to see him just yet. But.
Yeah, you're getting some inside baseball here
Right.
into the streaming show here. Nonetheless, it's a fairly quiet start to the day, and I think we're going to keep things on the quiet side. Temperatures somewhere around 72 degrees now. We'll look for a high of 82 here
There we
in
go.
town. And overall, your rain chances are fairly meager. A 20% shot at showers, nothing really aggressive. At points in time, you'll see that northeasterly wind pipe up, so you can get a gust near 15, 20 miles an hour, but nothing that should blow the trash can over. A passing shower before we call it quits for today. I'll take out the rain chances for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Saturday also looking good, but what we'll do is we'll lower the temperature. In fact, the average high going into the first day of October is 80 degrees. So we'll be slightly above average tomorrow, but then below average by a couple degrees for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then by Sunday we start to course correct. But really no great departures either way in the forecast. It's just kind of cool, quiet, fall-like.
Yeah.
No major disturbances. I like it. In fact, I love it, and I hope you do as well.
Too. We do, that's why, looking at that extended forecast, great for outdoor plans, but not so great for, like you mentioned, the rain that we really need.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, it's a double-edged sword, and I
Yeah.
know this is the time of the year where you kind of have two things at play here. We like to go out to the pumpkin patches and
Right.
to pick apples and all that kind of stuff. So you want the drier days to do that. And then the farmers are concerned about harvest, so they need a couple of dry days, but the crops are not exactly done yet, so they need a little bit more rainfall. So it's like you need a little bit of both, but we're getting a whole lot of dry air. And typically during this time of the year, about 1/4 1/4, or about 25% of our rainfall, comes on the backs of tropical systems or decaying tropical cyclones. And so we need these close passes, not hits, but we need some close passes with some tropical action to really help us with our rainfall amounts. And we know that this has been a fairly quiet season in terms of the U.S. mainline for the tropics. That's good news, but on the other end, that is really our source for water, for moisture during this time of the year. October, after all, is typically our driest month here in Atlanta. So we'll see how things shake out. There is an indication that the rain chances will go up into next week.
Okay, keeping an eye on it for us. Jonathan, thank you so much. We appreciate you. And I'll let you step out because I am planning now to talk to our Chris Rosenthal. He is in Dunwoody, and that is where we're taking you next. And I've been seeing some action going on behind you. The trolley is there, Chris, and I'm seeing folks get on and off. So what are they up to today?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think for most of us, you know, we live in our communities, in our cities, or you know, in our counties, and we may not know as much as we should. You know, we know our grocery store, we know our workplace, we know you know, where we drop our kids off at school, but sometimes we don't really know how our government works or some of the community and the development there. So that's why Dunwoody is having this this trolley tour, and about 25 residents are taking a tour today all around the city in this trolley. I have to ride in it a little bit earlier. I'm going to flip my camera around, and we got them here. We're at Campus 244 in Dunwoody. This is a development area, and I hear a lot of these people talking, just already this morning, saying they didn't know some of these places existed. Earlier this morning, they were at a park, and then they also met in City Hall to learn about finances. But I'm joined with Jennifer Betcher. She is with the City of Dunwoody. Tell me about what you guys are doing here today.
Yeah, Chris, we're so happy to have you with us. It is it's such a pleasure. This is Dunwoody 101 All Aboard. It's a program that we started earlier this year. This is our second class, and it's sort of a reimagining of a program we had many years ago, a Citizens Academy, that stretched out many weeks, and people would come and meet a couple of hours, watch PowerPoint over a number of weeks. And we thought, well, let's create a crash course. And so this is an all-day session to learn more about city government, to learn about where your tax dollars go, to learn about who's planning parks and who's helping developers with get through all of their zoning and their permits. And so this was by application. Residents, we had a waiting list. It's sold out, so we have 25 people here because that's as many as we can fit on the trolley. And then we had a waiting list, and we start at City Hall. We go on the trolley for 4 hours. We look at different developments. We'll have some lunch, and then at the end of the day, we'll look at the police department, our real-time crime center, and then learn about communications and code enforcement. That's the plan today. But it's been a great program. We're getting great feedback, and we like to hear people's reactions to the things they see and the things they do that they might not know about.
Yeah, what is their reactions? I mean, I just kind of hear people talking about some of these things they may not have realized, huh?
Yeah, you mentioned it earlier. You kind of often we live in a little bubble. We know our neighborhood, we know our grocery store, we know where the post office is, but sometimes when there's a new development or even a new park, we may not experience it. So in this case, Dunwoody's not that big, but there are parts, especially around the perimeter, that residents may not experience. And so this gives us a chance with the insight and input from department heads, so our Public Works Director, our Community Development Director, our Economic Development Director, Parks Director. They can give them insight into how these things happen. This is a great example, Campus 244. Behind us is a beautiful restaurant called CT Taqueria and Cantina, and some people have no idea this is here. It's open. There's right behind us, a new hotel. And so by seeing these developments and understanding how they came to be, it gives people a better understanding of the world around them, their very small world around them that they may not know about.
It's good for business too, huh?
It is. It is. I think we actually have a couple of real estate agents on the tour with us, and so they are sort of in a market where they may not understand everything. And it is designed for really any new residents, older residents. Our group, it's we drew names at random, so and it's open to any Dunwoody resident, 18 and older. And our group happens to have many longtime residents, but also some who've only lived here a year or two. And so for all of them, they're getting to see more of the city around them. So, and our hope is that they'll go back to their neighborhoods and tell their neighbor, have you been to Campus 244? Or we're about to go to High Street. And High Street's a beautiful development that has restaurants and retail and a green space in the middle. And some of our residents don't know about it. And so we hope the students on Dunwoody 101 will go back and say, hey, let's go this weekend. Let me show you High Street. You know, make sure you go to CT Cantina and just learn more about the world around them. Do you want to?
Yeah, let's go walk, see if we can catch up with them, and the trolley too. I mean, that's kind of a lot of fun for them, isn't it?
Yeah, the trolley, we sort of drew inspiration from Discover Dunwoody, which is our convention and visitors bureau. They started doing a monthly trolley tour for hotel workers, frontline workers who, wow, they've made a lot of progress since we started this report. We drew inspiration from them because they were doing these monthly trolley tours where they would go to restaurants mostly, and we thought, wow, the trolley is a great way to see the city. Big windows, it's fun, it's iconic, and so we booked the same trolley and decided to add that to this experience and make it a day-long thing. This is something you couldn't do if you were trying to do this in the evenings. You wouldn't, it'd be harder to get around, and so we think this makes it unique and special.
And riding the trolley, I was just on the trolley. I mean, it's really cool because it's like being on a tour, and you guys have a microphone and you're pointing out. I noticed you guys pointed out a mural by the MARTA station and just other landmarks. And I know a lot of these people hadn't seen some of these things. You don't notice these things when you're driving around sometimes, and you're just focused on what you're doing.
Yeah, even in front of the mall, we have a brand new path there. It's a cycle track, so there's a area for cyclists and also for pedestrians, and it's a path that's going to extend all the way up Ashford Dunwoody. So some folks may head over to the mall but not pay attention to what's right in front of it, and that's a really important development for us. And so it's great to be able to explain it and to hear the Public Works Director describe how it came to be and what's next.
And if this is all booked up for today, but people see this and they maybe want to do the next one, if there is going to be a next one.
Yeah, after the first one, we thought, will we do it again? And people said, yes, please. And so this session sold out, so we will definitely do it again. Our goal at this point, I think, is to do it twice a year. And so we'll do another session in the spring.
There you go. Well, these folks getting this tour here of Campus 244, and then they'll move on, and then they'll eventually get back to City Hall and go get a tour with the police and talk with the mayor. So I'll be with them the rest of the day here.
Very cool. Chris, I'm a Dunwoody gal, so I'm super interested in hearing the stops that you guys are going to make and what folks can expect, because there's so many treasures. So this is so great that they're doing this Dunwoody 101 all aboard tour, and that there was such a great turnout for it as well. So Chris, thank you for giving us a look at what they're getting into today. We certainly appreciate it. Well, still ahead for you this morning, open enrollment is almost upon us. Tis the time of the year for that, but you may notice this year an increase in premiums. So we are talking with an expert in just a few minutes. Stick around. Welcome back, everyone. We're glad to have you with us on this Tuesday. So open enrollment season is fast approaching. A lot of decisions to make when it comes to this. And many Americans are facing the tough reality that premiums, they're probably going to notice more expensive. Year to year, we're seeing a difference there. So joining us this morning, we have health insurance expert Eric Wissig with Sureco to help us make an informed choice and to talk more about this. So Eric, thanks for being on with us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So let's dive into this. Give us the reality check here. I mean, what is behind this increase that we're seeing in premiums, and how is that impacting the average consumer, Eric?
Well, you're really seeing premium increases across the board, both with the individual market as well as employers, which is forcing people to effectively come out of pocket much greater than they have in years past, and causing them to really need to explore their options, figure out what's best for them and their families. And what we're seeing at Sureco is a ton of increase of employers looking for alternatives to traditional group insurance. How do they still provide the valuable benefits to their employees without just pushing a ton of costs over to their team?
So let's start with open enrollment red flags. Eric, things that we should be looking out for.
Oh, definitely. Red flags would be not understanding the plans that you're entertaining and potentially considering, not understanding the networks, not understanding the prescription drug coverage and the out-of-pocket costs. So individuals and employers alone need to really, this year specifically, research their options, consider what's available, and look at alternatives too. The employers now have opportunity to move away from a traditional group plan into what we focus on, which is called an ICHRA, an individual coverage health reimbursement arrangement. That model allows employers to provide a fixed dollar amount for their employees to buy insurance on their own and do it still on a pre-tax basis, which dramatically increases the opportunity for employees to have much broader choices and to find something that fits their needs specifically.
Yeah, it certainly sounds like something that would be of interest to employers and to employees alike. So this may be a little bit tough, but how can we avoid sticker shock? Because, right, you see the price increases happening from possibly what you were paying last year, and that can be really unsettling.
Yeah, sticker price is a tough one to avoid this year because we're seeing around an 18 to 20% increase across the markets. Some employers are seeing 40% plus increases. So the way to avoid the true sticker price is to evaluate your plans. As I said, don't just do a passive enrollment, really dig in and figure out what your options are. And this includes for the employer. Just moving forward with their current plan, they're going to see a ton of pain, and they're going to need to pass that cost across to their employees because most businesses can't handle that sort of increase.
Mm-hmm. So something else that we're seeing, Eric, are people delaying care due to the cost. So let's talk about some of the long-term impacts that can have both medically and financially.
Yeah, delaying care is a real problem of people who have figured out that they just can't handle the out-of-pocket costs that are coming through, both on premium every month that's consistently going up, as well as high deductibles that are ever increasing. And so we see people all the time that have come to us and said, look, I just can't afford this anymore. And so I know I need this treatment, and I'm not able to go get it. And so obviously, what does that do? That just delays what they need, which then exacerbates their health conditions and forces them to deal with bigger issues down the road. So the sooner they're able to find affordable care where they can actually access and they can deal with their situations, that allows them to go out and obviously prevent these longer term issues. In order to do that, though, these individuals and everyone out there needs choices, and often that's not currently available. So everybody's looking for new options in the market.
Sure. Eric, tell us a little bit more about Sureco, what you guys do, and just a bit about the company.
Yeah, Sureco focuses predominantly on helping individuals and employers move to a new model within benefits, specifically this individual coverage health reimbursement arrangement, which really increases access to find the right health plan and find the right care that fits you. You're enabled now as an employer to simply go out and say, hey, I want to provide effectively compensation. I want to help my employees financially, but I really don't want to be in the middle of creating a group plan. And in doing so, individuals can find what fits them, save a lot of money in the process, reduce their costs, and the employer is able to provide a level of benefits they have expected and not be impacted by the same cost increases they see under their group plan.
All right, Eric, can you give us some final advice for our viewers who are watching right now? They're looking at their health plan options and know that they have an important decision to make soon.
Make sure you know what you're getting into. Make sure you understand what's covered. Make sure you understand the prescription drug coverage, the networks, and make sure you ask the right questions. And don't be afraid to look for alternatives and to suggest to the broader team and your company and business to think beyond what they've done in years past.
Some helpful advice for us. Eric Wissig with SureCo helping us out ahead of open enrollment. So, Eric, thank you for your time this morning and thank you for the help. We appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank you as well.
Well, still ahead for you this morning, we are taking a look at the Forever stamp that honors President Jimmy Carter, and its release is on a significant date. So we'll take a look at that in just a few minutes. Anxiety is on the rise, but can the way that parents interact with their children and their teens be part of the reason? Well, new research is saying the answer to that is yes. A little earlier, I spoke with UGA graduate research assistant Cullen Howard, and he has more on those findings.
So this is a fairly international study, and we find that moms and dads' parenting behaviors are linked to adolescent social anxiety symptoms. In particular, like warm parenting behaviors from moms and dads are linked to lower levels of social anxiety symptoms in youth. We're also finding that controlling behaviors or overly controlling behaviors, especially from moms, are linked to higher levels of social anxiety symptoms. So we find during this time, those things that moms and dads are doing, they very much matter.
Yeah, so I just took away a lot from what you just said. You just said a lot in just a few seconds. So let's dive into particularly this warmth that you just mentioned. What does parental warmth actually look like in a teen's day-to-day life?
That's a really great question, because immediately the name tells us, okay, we expect some kind of, emotion to be part of this. That's part of it, right? So one part of it is we're showing praise and affection towards the child. We're showing we care about them as well. This is hugs, physical affection, but warmth also goes so far beyond that as well. It's also partially relational. So we look at these things as well, that these are when youth are reporting that my parents seem to understand things about my problems. When I talk about my problems with my parent, I can feel better. But it also gets to things like I feel accepted by who I am from my parents. So yes, in one part, it's about, being affectionate towards your child, but in another, it's very much relational, having a solid relationship quality with your parent that is helping alleviate this anxiety in adolescence and helping them to be able to navigate these social experiences.
Yes, on the flip side, we heard you say something about over control, especially from mothers being linked to higher social anxiety. So what are some of the behaviors that you would say would fall into that category?
Yeah. So over control, it kind of falls into a couple different domains here. So one of them are overprotecting behaviors, right? So this is times where we're not giving children enough autonomy to be able to make their own choices and navigate their own lives. We're infantilizing the kid. We're pulling them down doing that. That's one aspect of it. Another aspect are things like psychological control. This can be things like emotional manipulation and guilt tripping the child. And so this is really undercutting the child's ability to be able to kind of develop this self-efficacy to go handle problems out in the social world. So in one regard, we support them through warmth and kind of harkening back to that attachment relationship. But on the other side, with control, we need to give kids age-appropriate bounds to be able to make choices and handle the difficulties in their life as well.
So you highlight, fathers and mothers playing a role in this. So you've mentioned a little bit about moms. What about dads? What specifically, as far as an impact on this, can they be having?
Yeah, that's great. So really, we're finding the primary driver from dads is from warm parenting behavior, right? Which is very interesting because sometimes we think about dads, we think about things like provision, we think about things like maybe discipline and structure in the home, which of course are important. But this study finds that warm parenting behaviors from moms and dads actually have a very similarly sized effect on adolescent social anxiety. And so when we look at it from that perspective, we say, okay, well, Dad, your role matters. It's not masked by the moms. It's not redundant with moms, but mom's making a contribution, but yours is as well. And one of the things that matters that you're doing is that warm, affectionate, but also accepting relationship with your child. Those are some of the things where dad really comes in, and that can help alleviate some of the social anxiety symptoms.
One of the really interesting parts of this, Cullen, is that your work, your study spanned 15 countries. So did you find that these parenting effects held up across the board? Did you notice differences depending on where you were? What did you find as far as culture contributing to anxiety in adolescence?
Yeah, so largely across the board, we find this effect to be fairly similar across different countries and things. It's a very robust effect, which is unique and tells us a lot about parenting. That really, largely, regardless of your cultural setting and things, we find these behaviors are efficacious for adolescent social anxiety. Now, we do find that parental warmth in kind of the Eastern Asian countries is especially beneficial for the adolescents. That kind of protective or promotive effect of parental warmth is especially strong in those countries.
That's so interesting. I'm curious too. I mean, we hear so much about parenting. There's so many books on parenting in France and the Netherlands and the way they do things in Denmark. Did you find anything specifically in those countries that's different than the way we're doing things that affected the results?
In this study, not particularly. There was not one that particularly stood out there. So hopefully when we get some more studies, we can examine that a little bit more fully.
Yeah. So where do we go from here? I feel like that's the question so many of us want to know, for parents, for clinicians, for schools to support teens better. Where do we go?
Yeah, so it's always the million-dollar question is what more can we be doing? And I think a part of that stems from the difficulty of adolescence. Adolescence is such a hard time. We all remember it, but there's biological changes, there's hormonal changes, but also it's just these social difficulties that go on are so rough. And so I think one of the main things that we really need to focus on is that even though adolescents are going through those changes and they are shifting more to focusing on their peers and these extracurricular activities, which they should be doing, that's normal, that, well, the things that we're doing inside the home, those do matter. I think sometimes as parents, it can be really quick to, kind of maybe discount the role we're doing. But in reality, we're finding that, being involved with your child, showing these accepting behaviors, giving them age-appropriate bounds to make choices is something that we can really do. But the second part to this that I think is also important is that this is a study of perceived parenting behaviors. And so it's not just how much I as a parent think I am, being accepting or warm to my kid, but it's how much my child is believing I am as well. So much of this is being, adaptive and understanding your child's perspective and trying to adapt your parenting to be able to fit things that help them to recognize your warmth, affection, and acceptance of them, and giving and letting them not feel necessarily, squashed by over control as well. So much of this is trying to tailor your parenting behavior to fit what your child actually needs and what they're showing you they need.
So let me get you to do this. And I know this has probably been your life for months, lots of hours, lots of nights that you put into this research, into putting all of this together. But if there was one piece that you could say you hope that parents take away from the work that you did, from this research, what would it be, Cullen?
Oh, man, that is a great question. Ooh. I think I would just say with that, it's just the importance of being involved and present with your child. I work with my advisors, a lot of great advisors, Dr. Asaf Oshri and Jeffrey Brown here at the Georgia Center for Developmental Science. And so much of it is being involved with the child and having quality interactions with your kid, right? You're not always going to have a ton of time, but understanding that you need to make time and make that time count, right? Help that child really know that you accept them, you have care for them, and that you're there to support them through difficult times so that they can eventually handle the challenges for themselves. That's that big takeaway, is just make sure that you're there and involved.
Yeah, you know what? Some really, really great information, great advice based on the research that you did on this. UGA graduate research assistant Cullen Howard. Cullen, thank you so much for shedding some light on adolescent anxiety and ways that parents can play a role in that. We certainly appreciate it. Well, still ahead for you this morning. We are talking President Jimmy Carter's Forever Stamp, the release of that happening today. So stick around. We'll give you a look. Hey, welcome back, everyone, and thanks for staying with us on this Tuesday morning. Talking about something special that is happening in Fayetteville. It's Georgia Film Academy, and boy, are they busy. They're training the next generation of professionals in film, in television, even gaming as well. So our Paul Milliken headed to Fayetteville's Trilith Studios to check it out.
Well, good morning. If you were watching Good Day Atlanta this morning, you know we're here at Trilith Studios, and we were at the Georgia Film Academy this morning, which is amazing. It is training the next generation of film professionals. But we had to also stop over and talk about this giant thing over my shoulder. If you've been down here at Trilith, you know something really big is happening, and it's called Trilith Live. So what is it, and what does it mean for all of you? I know somebody who's got the answers. That's Matt McLean, who's the general manager and executive director. It's great to see you. How are you?
Doing great. Thanks for having us.
It is my pleasure. And I told you I was here a few months ago and I saw this starting to be constructed. It looks amazing. So let's start basic. What is Trilith Live?
Yeah, so Trilith Live is a entertainment complex. 530,000 square feet. It's got sound stages. It's got a luxury cinema. It's got a live entertainment venue. And it's got Passion City Church's Trilith location that's going to go into it.
Yeah, so it's really many things in one facility. So we'll kind of break it down. First of all, things that are filmed with live audiences, like game shows. For example, the one on Fox, 1% Club, that's what you can do here, right?
That's exactly right. We actually just crossed over 400 live audience episodes already shot in phase 1 in the sound stages. So very, very exciting.
That's amazing. And then public events. So you can book concerts here, right?
That's correct. We actually just went on sale last week with Gabby's Dollhouse. So you can go and buy tickets to that show. The movie came out last Friday as well.
People love Gabby's Dollhouse.
Yes. So we're really excited for that to be our first show on January 15th. And then from there, we've got a slew of other shows that we'll be announcing in the next several weeks. Right now, all the way up to 12 total shows that we've already got booked in Q1.
It's incredible. And something else that we learned too is in the back of all this, there's rehearsal space. So if there's an artist who's about to go on tour and they need to rehearse somewhere, they can do it here.
They certainly can. So we've had shows like Usher come and rehearse before he went on his world tour, country acts like Keith Urban and Thomas Rhett, and many, many others. We actually have a show loading in tomorrow to get ready for a national tour.
This is really incredible. So, I mean, I think you've already answered the question, but if somebody says to you, why was this needed here? How do you answer that question?
I would say the South Side for a long time has not had large live entertainment opportunities. And Trilith Live in all different facets offers that opportunity to the community here.
Yeah, so let's talk about where you are in phases. So I think there's 2 phases to the project. Phase 1 is done, right?
That's correct. Phase 1's done, been operating for just over a year.
Yeah, and then phase 2, what does that encompass and when will that be done?
Yeah, so phase 2 encompasses the live entertainment venue, and it also includes the luxury cinema. The luxury cinema, we're on schedule to have that open for Christmas this year. And then the live entertainment portion of the venue, again, January 15th with Gabby's Dollhouse.
Yeah, just like thinking here, I mean, the luxury cinema could host like premieres of movies, things like that. Like, what a great thing to have here.
It's exactly right. We've got micro cinemas in there with 20 capacity. So you think about a high-end family theater in your home, or doing a pitch or doing screenings, all kinds of opportunities there. They also have what is going to be the largest LED screen in the country in a cinema in their space, and then large format with their GTX by Georgia Theater Company.
Yeah, that's amazing. Again, just so many different implications for what you can do and what you will do with this space. And for people who live at town at Trilith, this is awesome to have right here, right?
Right down the street, walk over, see a movie, walk over, go to a concert, be a part of a live audience. The options are limitless there.
Yeah, so you mentioned before, like there are tickets on sale for events that are coming up. So where are those tickets on sale?
Yeah, so if you go to trilithlive.com, you'll see the banner there for Gabby's Dollhouse. We actually have a whole new website coming here in November that'll be fully built out, but ticketmaster.com as well.
Amazing. So good to see you. Thank you for letting us be here and learn more about this. How excited are you about what you've done and what is to come?
Yeah, we're super excited. The project is on schedule, on time, which is one of the biggest things there. So we're able to stay with the commitments we have for the various shows and convention and corporate stuff and community things. So really, really excited.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just end with this. I feel like Trilith Live is just a good representation of what this whole area is about, which is professional meeting the general public. That there will be events here that are industry events, but then also things that we all can come and enjoy.
That's exactly right. We're really, really excited for this community to be able to just come right here to the town at Trilith instead of having to drive to the north side of Atlanta and fight traffic and whatnot. They can just come and enjoy the entertainment here.
Yeah, this is cool. Matt McLean, great to see you. Thank you for having us today. We appreciate it. So again, that's Trilith live behind me. Elise, I know when you heard the words Gabby's Dollhouse, you got very excited because I know for a fact that you've got kids who are very into it. Many of you do watching. So lots of good stuff coming here to Trilith live right behind me. Like I said, already game shows being filmed here like the 1% Club right here on Fox. So exciting for the entire community. Go online and learn more about Trilith Live.
What a special place, Paul Milliken. Thank you so much for showing us around and letting us know some of the great things that are being offered out at Trilith. We're going to switch gears now and talk about AI chatbots. Of course, we use them for school, we use them for work, health questions as well, but many are turning to it for connections and also for help when it comes to mental health or addiction. But there can be some red flags when it comes to using it for that purpose. So here's the Fox Medical team's Dr. Mike Sirigliano.
Lots of us have anxiety, depression. Some have more significant issues, and trying to get an appointment with a mental health provider can be extremely challenging. I know this because I've been dealing with the whole situation for about 30 years now. The bottom line is this: many people now are going on the computer and they're using artificial intelligence, these chat bots, to help them to deal with their issues. Now, they're available 24/7. You can go on the computer at 2 in the morning. You're not going to get a psychologist or psychiatrist at 2 in the morning for the most part. And so it's available. You don't have to go anywhere. The problem is that as of right now, these algorithms, these chats, these AI programs are not validated. They are not using standard psychological proper techniques and all of that. You could end up even worse. And there's one case, one report of a suicide. So it's a work in progress. At Dartmouth, they're doing they're working on one of these. I think they're calling it Therabot. It's being vetted out. It's being scientifically done properly. And I do think there's a role for this. But the problem right now, if you have an issue, you want a live person, someone that's a real human being to help you with your issues.
Yeah, you know, this makes me think, Dr. Mike, it's like you try to use one of those chatbots sometimes even to make a return, right? Or like something simple. And a lot of times things go awry in that. So you imagine someone who is needing mental health help or addiction help. I can imagine that this is something that could take a left turn really quickly.
Well, yeah, and remember, there could be bias. There's no empathy. I mean, I don't care what kind of a computer you are. It's not going to be someone that can, like, hold your hand and say, I'm sorry. You know, you just lost your loved one. I mean, it's not going to happen. Now, you know, maybe in 30, 40 years, there will be advanced robotics and a machine will be able to hold your hand. I don't know. But the bottom line is that it's not there yet. I get it. People need help, but stick with a live person. And what you do is you go to your healthcare provider, your primary care provider, and let them advocate for you and try to get you in with somebody.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
Really important advice on this morning. Dr. Mike Sirigliano. Dr. Mike, as always, we appreciate your help, and it's so good to see you. Let's get you live now to the Oval Office. That's where President Donald Trump is speaking from the White House. Let's listen in.
No, he's doing the right thing. Thank you. And yet they make 75% of their profits from the American customers, so it's something. That's why I signed an executive order combating this practice, and we signed it very happily a little while ago. Today, Pfizer is committing, as will other drug companies as we go through the weeks. But Pfizer is truly one of the biggest in the world and one of the greatest in the world. Today, Pfizer is committing to offer all of their prescription medications to Medicaid, and it will be at the most favored nation's prices. It's going to have a huge impact on bringing Medicaid costs down like nothing else. I told you that in my first term, I was so proud of the fact that for the first time in 28 years, drug prices came down. And I had a news conference that I explained it was 0.1%, but it was down. And here we're talking about, in one case, over 1,000%. This is a critical step forward to our work and to improve health care, and hardworking, low-income Americans, especially low-income Americans, will be helped so greatly. In addition, Pfizer has agreed to provide some of their most popular current medications to all consumers at heavily discounted prices of anywhere between 50 and even 100%, and that's off the price. And in some cases, even more than that. These drugs will be available for direct purchase online at a website operated by the federal government. We're also announcing that moving forward, all new medications introduced by Pfizer to the American market will be sold at the reduced most favored nation cost. So we'll be paying essentially what other countries are paying, who have been much lower for many, many years. Furthermore, Pfizer will invest $70 billion to reshore domestic manufacturing facilities. In other words, they're going to bring a lot of their facilities to make their drugs and make what they make, their product. They're going to make it in the United States. I appreciate that $70 billion investment and fund research and development right here in America. We're working with other major pharmaceutical companies to secure similar agreements. Everyone understands that the status quo where Americans pay more for drugs, prescription drugs, and they pay more than foreign countries who take advantage of us in many other ways, although not so many anymore. I think we've pretty well got that stopped, right? I think so. We've stopped that, but they took advantage of a lot of other precedents, that I can tell you. But we're making this pay to be very unacceptable, what they've done in the past. That's why my administration is also taking historic action to investigate the unfair and discriminatory trade practices of other countries that extort our pharmaceutical makers to shift costs onto the American consumer. They say, no, give us a price, a very low price, and just charge the American consumer, charge it to the U.S. The United States is done subsidizing the health care of the rest of the world. It's a big thing. I can't tell you how big this is. And I was all set to go on a first term, but then you had the COVID, and we had to focus on that. But I said, I want to get back here, because you're talking about 14, 15, 1,600% reductions in some cases. But by taking this bold step, we're ending the era of global price gouging at the expense of American families, and we're making America healthy again, which is our little theme for the people behind me. And I want to just ask Secretary Kennedy to come up, and we'll start, and we'll go through it with Oz and Klomp and Bourla and McCary, and we'll go through it, and if you have any questions. But this is a really big announcement. This is something that most people said was not doable. And other countries are going along because we told them that if you don't go along, they didn't have to go along, but if they didn't go along, we were going to put extra tariffs on those countries, and we were going to charge them the amount of money that they should be paying for the reduction in costs. So I think we had a pretty good negotiating position. So, Bobby, I'd like you to speak about this, and what a great job, and thank you very much.
Tuning in right now, you just heard the President.
I thank a couple of people who aren't up here, Theo Merkel, Dr. Heidi Overton.
Deal with Pfizer, which of course could impact the price of prescriptions here in the U.S. So it looks like Health and Human Services Secretary JFK Jr., Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is preparing to speak at the mic. So again, a really big announcement here, saying a critical step forward, lowering the cost of prescription drugs. Of course, we will continue to stay on top of this. You can continue watching on our YouTube channel for our coverage there from the Oval Office. But thank you so much for joining us on this Tuesday. The news continues at noon, and we hope you have a great day. Take care.
The man accused of shooting and killing a Gwinnett County deputy appeared in court this morning. Everything we know about the disturbing situation. Plus, actor Tyrese Gibson is wanted for animal cruelty, where